Mm,
That is a
good
what
number.
30
Yeah, my
see
birthday's
22
2
and
months.
29. 29 is and 9 is 38. That's a 38. It's an 11. That's the same number my birthday lines up with. So it must be a big day. 22s are always a big day for me.
Yeah, me too. It's my
21.
birthday,
Now when's your birthday?
September 22nd.
September 22nd. Wow. Okay. God, those numbers 21 and 22 keep coming up. Yeah, we're on. I think we're on here. Get this off of here. I'll put it on the wrong page. Hmm. Okay. Kathy Mason. Oh, let me tag you while people are getting the invite. We've been shadow banned again.
Yeah, that's the other thing I want to talk about is, I mean, from the marketing sense, you can
Uh-huh.
really tell who's part of the game.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah,
And
it's always been obvious. It's funny because I just tagged you. I think it went.
yeah,
Oh shoot. No, I did the wrong thing. No, that's it. Boom. Whoop. Um, yeah, because yeah, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. And I can remember going back to, let's see, like 2013. I wasn't even doing videos. I just started doing videos into 2014. Not very many at all. Even they were just little solos. But but I was doing some video production. And but anyway, Soulogy, you got Soulogy One Studios Facebook page, and then you have my page. They have Soulogy Group. And it was probably around, I don't know, we probably were like around 10 or 12,000, right? Total, like nine, six in one and six on the other ones. And anyway, what would happen is because I always pay attention to the metrics. So like 2014, and I was originating everything from the Soldier One Studios page and then sharing it out because that's the only place the metrics were available.
uh-huh.
And we would get up to like 500,000 people in a month on the
Yeah.
reach, and then they'd squash us down to like 20,000, and then we'd go back up, and then they'd squash us down. And so I basically had been off, not off, like for me, doing 65 shows a month, lots of posts, and then for the last couple of years, really slowed it down. Probably did about 8 shows a month on average. There was months I didn't do it for 2 or 3 months at a time. But so what happened was middle of May, I got the call. I had to close down the soldiernetwork.com. This was all part of the deconstruction. And I feel like this parallels everything that we're going through
Yeah.
individually.
Yeah.
Everything is brought back down to zero. So I literally gave up my livelihood, cashed everything in, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're down to zero. But in middle of May, I started going back to work every day, because for me, it's a constant thing, three or four, two or 300 memes a day and whatever else work I do. But what I noticed was they had some new metrics and it was centered on the way they've constructed it now on Facebook. It's centered on the personal account, basically.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
tracks everything you do into other groups and all that. And I was able to get, it's crazy because I started middle of May and by June 1st, I was, kind of embedded. And then, and for, I want to say for probably about since 2019 or 2020, the number in the Facebook group Soulogy had been stuck around 46, 48, 49,000. It just stopped.
Yeah.
As did Soulogy One Studios page, which was like 27, 28,000 people. My page personally kept growing, but not like you see a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I got back into it, and by the end of June, we had increased to 72,000. So
Wow.
there was a
That's
huge increase there. And then the reach, we got it up to 4.5 million, okay, in the month of June. And so what I think happened was I was kind of dormant, and then you come out and the system kind of like, you're like kind of under the radar. And then once they spot you, boom, it starts to come back down.
yeah.
So I've seen it, and it's interesting to watch. But yeah, we should talk about that as well. Oh, let me formally roll the program out. We got a few people in the
Well, I'd
house.
love to catch up at some point anyway.
Huh?
Besides this, I'd love to catch up and see how I can support what you're doing.
Yeah, we can have a conversation. I was thinking about that today because it's all a new game. You know, the one thing that
Yep,
I can see is that you can't take anything with you. I'm watching this happen a lot in the old business practices, marketing practices. And so, yeah, I think this is a real good subject, and I'd be happy to share what I've gleaned from it, you know,
sure.
over the last 14 years and kind of where I see it's at and the messages I've been getting. But let me formally roll this
Sure, sure.
episode out.
Oh, no.
We're live on X, YouTube, and Facebook, and I think we're going to be expanding the platforms like we used to, like doing 10 or 12 uh, simulcasts at the same time,
Okay.
multi-stream. But yeah, I want to formally welcome back Kathy Mason. We've collaborated quite a bit over the years. She's been very active. She's very much a supporter of people that are out there as creative artists and creators. And so she's pretty well known. She's a good organizer. She likes to bring people together like I do. And yeah, we haven't caught up in a while, but just like in normal Soulogy fashion, we're just going to do that in front of everybody and say, you know, and just keep it real and try to keep it transparent. So welcome back, Kathy. Thank you for coming
Thank you.
in.
Thank you, Todd. Well, it's been interesting, hasn't it? I've been doing my show, which is called Conscious Business Zone, for over 7 years now, and it's still not taken off. And I can't seem to. I mean, people when I've talked to consultants about it, they'll go change the name. It's like I don't know what to change the name to.
It's
So,
funny. That's funny because, of course, I was given the name Soulogy years ago in 2012,
mhm,
and I was told, go make a Facebook group. I wasn't even on Facebook. And I mean, I didn't use it. But what I noticed was because back then it was memes and images. We didn't have, I was one of the first ones to start doing videos, and that would have been, like I said, late 2014. Facebook Live came out right around that time, and I started doing the original show on Facebook Live. It looks like you're on Messenger, like they're just a little face
yeah,
on the screen. So, but but what I noticed was because Soulogy is kind of a different kind of name, right? But what I would notice, we always stair stepped like that. Nothing like huge, like in June, but just stair step steady all the time. And I would notice these groups that would skyrocket and be at 100 or 150,000 people, and it was based on the name. But what I've found, because I've studied a lot of the metrics of the groups that's available to me, and I can just see it. You can see it by the percentage of participation in a group. You can go into a group and look at how many people of this, whatever the number is, are actually engaged. And Soulogy's always been really, really high, like around 50, 60%. I think most of them will be probably like 10 to 15%, but also some that just go basically dormant because there's some that I've been sharing into as I've come back on track. And I used to get like, lots of engagement out of it. And I was like, no, I'm not getting anything. And I went and looked at the groups and they're basically dormant.
right,
So, it takes, people ask me, in fact, I'm going to help this lady next week. She's going to launch a podcast. I've helped a lot of people launch podcasts, even groups, and just giving them advice. And, for me, it's still the same thing. Even with all the automation and everything, it's consistency. So
right,
I'm not saying the name is, is a savior or not. What I'm saying is that the consistency and the basic mechanics of getting the stuff out there, which has become different now because of the technology, but it's still the same thing. And really, to me, and I would just say this right now, to me, it's if you're going to start something or you want to expand an existing platform, you be consistent. I've seen so many people. I mean, like I said, I probably helped 30 people, 40 people start a podcast, and I would always tell them, don't try to do it all at once. And I saw so many people travel at the speed of light and then just go boom.
yeah, yeah,
So it's really, and in your business mind, in business, in my old career, I was a consultant and also worked in the corporate structure. Anytime you launch an office or launch a campaign or launch a business, you're always going to do this. And then it's going to start to go like that. And that's when the work starts.
yeah,
And so I would just say, shake every hand that you can, put out your posts, put out your videos, put out whatever your promotions. Anyone that responds, even if it's with a like, give them a like back, give them a message back in the comments. That's how the algorithms can work in your favor. And it is time consuming. It takes a lot of work. I would say mine would take, at least several hours every day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
off and on. Yeah.
I've been doing it, my show once or twice a week for 7 years.
That's a
I
lot.
just started doing it once a week this year. And what's interesting is I've been a volunteer for the IONS group, which is the
Yeah.
International Association for Near Death Studies. And so I get to interview a lot of their people before their big conference event every
Oh,
year
right
in
on.
Vegas. Yeah, and those videos really get seen. But what the reason I was excited to get back on here with you is I really think there's so many people waking up right now that haven't had the education
Mhm.
or the awareness or the sensitivity yet to know who's telling the truth. And
Well,
so much stuff out there that is just unbelievable.
well, that's the thing. Look, I mean, okay, so let's just clear this one because you asked me about it. And this is what I would say. Okay. Um, the intel or whatever you want to call it, the information that I received from the you, me, we,
Uh,
and it, as I was in late 2023 doing the last Soulogy Fest, literally out of breath, out of energy, and
yeah,
just crashed at the beginning
right,
of 2024. And try to get back in there. And I kept, I would do it, but it's something just didn't feel right. I started a new podcast. I just called it The Person's Name. I think we did about 100 of those. Still wasn't right. Changed the name again. Soulogy Speaks. And and so as I started to get back into this in May, I started to receive, to me, the experience this this summer, May, June, July, has paralleled my wake up 14 years ago to the day, to the month. And so the information I said back then, and I made a video the other day, it feels above biblical. So the atmosphere feels the same. Now, what I was receiving back then, back in the early days, would be I remember Mother Mary consciousness coming in and saying, for every engagement you get, multiply it times 50,000. So as these other platforms were getting 1,000 views and I'm getting 22 or 33, she just said, hold on to that. This time around, as I was getting into it, and this answers your questions, they're like two birds with one stone. One is the last thing you look at are the engagements. Don't worry about that. Just focus on the engagement in front of you, the interaction in front of you. And it's going to be felt in the field, physically and non-physically, based on the level of openness that you have. If you are a sphere and you're open 360 degrees and the other person is two, that's the maximum potential. And then the reflections that are viewing it either live or on replay. And that's the real force that we're seeing. It's above authenticity. It's above vulnerability. It contains those components, but it's basically two people, in this case, having a conversation, even if it was in private, where the heart is opening and the truth is being told, and that the level of consciousness is being spread through this, you might say, non-physical, invisible, energetic grid, and it carries the information that we would teach people. So, in other words, part of the old construct that's going away is what we will have to teach people. It's more about just being an open vessel. And then where two or more gather, that consciousness, just like light, light is information. That consciousness is opening up all of us inside, right?
right,
So
right.
and so
Resonant.
yeah, so the whole way of communication, of learning, of life, the patterning is different. And the last thing I would say, and I've said this and I'm going to keep saying it, I received that from December 21st, 2012 to December 21st, 2024, that 12-year period, that we actually during those years have accomplished what we came to do. but we were doing it in the distortion. We were actually anchoring through the distortion. And then once that 12-year period ended, we're now entering a new 12-year phase. And I don't know anything more than that, but that we're not swimming against the current. Now we are swimming with the current. We're being reciprocated immediately, regardless of the level of distortion that we see. And that's the other thing that you wanted to talk about. And I just wanted to remind you on it. But yeah, so thank you for letting me say that. I hope
Yeah.
that helps. And we can talk privately too, because, I think
Yeah.
that's how you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
You bounce around.
Well, I think what's really happening for so many people is they're not they're when they have a trigger or they have something happen around them that brings up feelings that don't feel good. I mean, that's really the gauge. Feel good, don't feel good.
Mm.
Is they're taking responsibility of it and working on it themselves. And that is a big difference that I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing people wanting to do the inner work and making it a priority. Whereas before it was like yoga was a exercise class. A lot of stuff was external, high visibility, people doing things to be seen or heard or any of that. And now it seems like because the resonance of your voice and the frequency from your heart is palpable to most people that are on the same path, there's nothing more that needs to be done except clear you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
doing Ho'oponopono all the
Yeah.
time. I mean,
Look, you hit it on the head. And that's been where one thing I love about the show over the years, especially as you get back into the consistency of it, you can actually see the field being represented through its evolution through these conversations, because it's much more than two people talking. But that's where the conversations have went, even right up to yesterday and probably the three tomorrow. It's kind of weird because, you know, we don't have to look at everything out there and go try to fix it. The key is just for ourselves. So as we do it, that's the greatest contribution we can make to ourselves, each other, and the collective. And it's so atypical. It's so unconventional. It's so irrational from the old paradigm. But we're not in that old paradigm anymore.
yeah,
And the other
yeah,
thing about this new math or new geometry or whatever you want to call it, going with the current, is that it expands immediately in a mathematics and geometry that we know from our souls, but we haven't been into for the last 12,000 years or whatever. And it does that by us stepping into it and taking action. And I think the biggest part of that action is what you just said, through the voice, through the thoughts, through the actions, in transparency, really. And when you get right down to it,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Well, when you woke up, that time period, I was a community leader for the Bruno Gurning Circle of Friends here
Mm,
in Boulder, and we would have up to 100 people that would come to the thing, and I'd be standing at the front of the room, and there'd be three other people. Their model is have four people hold the energy in the room, and we consciously, the four of us that were coordinating everything, we would consciously say, whoever shows up, doesn't matter if two people show up,
right.
they're the right ones. And that's the same way I do my show. I think it's the same way you're doing your show. We're in service, and it is part of our genius to do this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and it's not work. I mean,
No,
I
it's not.
really enjoy it. Do you?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too, like you even tried to get, and okay, I think we're talking about our own personal experiences is what this is all about. But the point is, I feel like everyone can relate to this. That's another
Yeah.
thing I've noticed after the first 6 months of the year is people are starting to say, oh, wait, we're saying the same thing. I think things were moving so fast and the environment was so new, like a switch was flipped after that solstice, that we had to get used to the environment, the
Oh,
echoes of the old, and then what you're talking about, people going down and really facing their own shit and not projecting anymore. A lot of people have gone into solitude. But another thing is, as I was working my way back into it, there was this force that said, no, go lay on the bed for 10 hours. No, you're not ready yet. No, you haven't got it all yet. And then I could start to feel it. And then you see something dramatic happen, like 20,000 people join Soulogy, which doesn't make any sense. And this huge, coming out again thing. But one of the components or the guidance, components of the guidance is whatever you do, people can see the truth now.
That's right.
Okay.
You
People can see
feel
the
it.
truth. Yeah, they can see the truth. They can feel the truth. And
Mhm.
it's not even about what you're saying. Right. And so I think the last way I would put that out there too is it's like the first half was that 12-year period. Now we're in the second half. Now, if that lasts 1,200 years or what, I don't know. I'm just saying that the first half, we came to awaken. Okay. So if you look at it from a soul perspective, we didn't just come to wake up. That's only part of it. We came to actually create
Right.
as we are made in the image of. We have been given all of that
Right.
to create in a physical density like it's never been done before.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. Well, soul, I believe consciousness wants us to participate in the expansion. And what it's doing is it's finding people that will get the memo, get the post-it note, and do something with it, and then let them sit for a little while, and then give them another batch,
Yeah.
and then another batch, and you get to pick whether it's scary. A lot of the stuff that you're given, the downloads or the opportunities, I guess you should say, that you're given. But I believe, I think I see consciousness like a giant database.
Yeah.
And we're like a USB
Yeah.
and wants input. And so it'll give me a task and I have to be clear and clean and not judge it and be scared as hell and still do it. Right?
I know. I mean, it can break it down so many ways, but
Yeah.
I think consciousness is probably the easiest word unilaterally that people are comfortable with. So you don't have to say mother goddess, God, source,
Yeah.
creator, but yeah. And so we're basically consciousness in this vessel.
That's right.
So if you look at the narrative, for instance, of the ETs, and that's a whole other subject,
I love
it's
that.
part of the realm, right?
Yeah.
They look at us as containers. So they're, pushing forward their agendas just like we all do, because in this realm, there are elements of egoic, which just means imperfection, right? This is all the universe trying to work out to a higher level, or more expanded version or more experience. So the thing is, the game is being flipped now. And as you have one Jesus or one Magdalene or one Buddha at a specific time that's carrying this and which can literally touch the whole world, you're now having many do this.
That's
So
right.
when they talk about a planet has never ascended in form, I don't really buy any narrative, but I could feel into that and say, you know what? I don't think this has ever been done before. We're a part of it. She's our mother. She's another version or the physical version of the mother's, the space in between. And, and like, there's really nothing stopping it at this point. And we're waking up more every day, to your point. And you said one other thing, how you were noticing people that are taking it upon themselves to, as we call it, do the work. So much
Yep.
solitude, so much privacy and isolation. I've had conversations in the last 2 weeks on the show and observed in my own family, um, different, all different ranges of relatives that are doing this, that
Yep.
aren't in these circles, that are
Well, you
taking you can feel
woke
it.
up. Don't you think? I mean, that's what I've been saying and I don't know where I get any of the stuff that I say. I mean, it just comes. So, but I've been saying that the first step of this awakening is that more and more people are going to become empathic. And as soon as they become empathic, they're feeling their way. They've created a new navigation model through this reality. And once they're empathic, then they start seeing, is that my energy or theirs? And then they can be responsible for theirs, because up until then, they may not even know it whose
Yeah.
is what,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, I assume you probably had a sensitive inclination as a child, and then it got popped open.
Mm.
But I've been seeing things and knowing things since I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
So, and you just go through these different segments of your life of incorporating it, using the intuition or the future sight. I have future sight
Mm.
stuff. So you just use it the way you can, but now it's about clearing and
Yeah.
clearing and finding the joy, because that's the co-creation with the divine.
Yeah. Well, it's like people talk about art or poetry.
Mm,
If we look back at the old paradigm and the masterpieces that have been produced, many of those were done through deep emotions, a lot of times grief and sadness.
right.
So we've entered this new phase where we have balance in our emotional spectrum. That's a very unique characteristic. It is unique to the human species container holding the soul, right? Or the soul holding it.
Well,
And so,
you wait a
huh?
sec. I'm sorry to interrupt, but if
Mm.
you're watching the news, you don't have balance.
No, 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 you don't. No,
No.
no. But
So
I'm saying what
you're
I'm saying.
talking about you have the choice of having balance.
No, what I'm saying is that we've entered a level of consciousness, shared consciousness,
Oh, I
where
see.
by virtue of what you're talking about in terms of people going into themselves and running everything through themselves as opposed to projecting or blaming, looking for love out there or looking to blame someone out there. So what's happening is ultimately, I see it as a life review in form. We are getting the same level of consciousness that people, and I know you've talked to them, you've interviewed them, I've interviewed them, I've had it happen to me personally twice. And that is to have a near death experience or an out of body experience.
Mm,
And regardless of the way the story is told, regardless of the metaphoric way that it's shown to that person, the way they experience it, there's a common thread, and in that common thread, there is an offering or an exchange of consciousness or remembering of consciousness that takes us back to a greater sense of unity, and then we come back here. Now, what do I mean by that? That means like, yeah, I go out of body, I sit with a 12-foot angel, and she starts to show me a life review, and I start to feel what my energy emitted from thought to word or action, how it made another person feel, regardless of my intention.
that's right.
Okay. So that's very important. Like I've just gone through something really big and I can see both sides, all sides. I can feel, you're talking about empath. I can feel the other because the other is me. Okay,
That's
that's what I'm saying. We're being driven to a place where instead of going, oh, I don't want that and I don't want that, that any given situation in a present moment, this is what I have to work with. And
right.
it's all me. I am looking at me, whether it be a person, place, thing, pet, whatever. And we work with that in the given moment. It's like every
Yep.
day now is truly a life, you know?
And every morning you can wake up as somebody different. I mean, that's what the thing is, that you can either be fearful of it or excited about it. And I'm choosing to wake up and go, okay, what's going to show up today? And that's what I encourage as many people to do as possible, because it's a game. This
Yeah.
is a game, you guys. We're playing a game, and to see how much maybe beauty or love or whatever your gift is, whatever your genius is, how much you can share during this brief lifetime.
Yeah, and I think the other side of what you were talking about, that's what's happening. We're stepping onto the other side. It's not so much two steps up, one back now. It's just we're stepping on the other side and go, okay, this is how this works. And I think the empath part of it's very important. And I think that yes, what you're saying is absolutely correct. I don't think we're there yet, all of us, not me. I don't know, whatever. I don't see anybody walking on water yet, but I do believe that we will and that we can and that we can teleport. But the important thing is these labels and these terms and how we classify things and so this is the quantum thought environment. So if I think there are people that are asleep, then I'm going to be in an environment that there are people asleep, and that's going to affect me because that's my own lack of unity within myself. But I think a real big one is empath. You know, the over identification with being an empath. Let me tell you something. I have learned as much sitting with my empathic self as I have my narcissistic self.
Mhm. Okay.
So that's one way of me saying all of it is me. So if I'm seeing this corporate executive that's having an affair at a Coldplay concert, that is the shit coming up. If I see Trump today saying he's gonna arrest Obama and all these people, but at the same time the Epstein list is not being, so all the ridiculousness, all the
Right.
bullshit is driving us back to ourselves.
Exactly.
And the
Exactly.
closest thing that we can, that the closest, or I would say,
Perfect.
the safest and most potentialized place we can be once we, which was what we seem to be doing, start to step out gingerly, one step at a time, is to have an engagement and an interaction like this, where two or more gather, and you start to share it. And you don't need a million views on the internet to. In other words, you could get a million views on the internet. What's that saying? Abraham Hicks says, one enlightened soul, one awakened or enlightened soul has the power of a million that aren't.
Well, Dr. David Hawkins said he has
Scale of
this,
consciousness.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he said what was it, 700 of the vibration is 700 or more is similar to Jesus, and one
Yeah.
of those people can affect 100,000 people, I think is what he said.
Yeah,
But
and to your point, those things that you're talking about, like to do what you want, to be passionate about what you want, and to share, I think it's coming as we enter the other side of it. So we go through a trigger, we take it in ourselves. Oh my God, I just went through this. Like, oh my God, I was so stupid. And I mean that with reverence. And I'm like, oh my God, I was that stuck on the grid. But the thing is, I don't have to stay there now. I can go, oh my God, that's just like you just get lighter,
well,
and then you go,
it used to be this journey that everyone's doing, the ascension journey and all of the classes and all this stuff to try to be ascended. Now it's like you just keep seeing these little hooks that are still there. Like you thought you cleared that thing with your sister, and
yeah,
then somebody acts like your sister, and it's like, oh, it's still there. And instead of going, oh, I can't believe I still, that whole storyline, you thank it for showing itself, because if your mind view is that everything here is for you,
yeah,
not against you, then you try to find the gift in it. Now, you might get triggered and overreact at the time, and that's okay,
yeah,
because it's a communication with yourself.
exactly. And a lot of people talk about, well, these things are being talked about in a new way, in a different way, in a broader way. And one would be forgiveness. Or we talk about, blessing somebody, but I'm not going to have anything to do with you again. There's no boundaries in what we're coming into here. And so you're right. It is a personal decision, personal discussion. So let's take the word forgiveness. Like forgiveness, non-judgment has been a conscious daily mantra for me since summer of 2021.
Mhm.
Okay, and so what I recognized was when something would come in, and I go, "Oh my God, I was stupid," or I was angry, or I projected. I can go, "Okay, I got it now. No judgment. I forgive me." So if I am carrying a less and less, or say a greater and greater, like the 90th percentile, 95th percentile of forgiveness for myself, that means I'm in the 90 to 95th percentile of self-love. And as our self-love increases, we don't have to worry about forgiving other people because we've already raised our frequency and we're seeing them more as us, if not as us. And that
Mhm.
includes the good actors, the bad actors, all of them.
That's
It's a,
right. That's right. Well, but if this is all for our learning, the good actors serve, the
mm,
bad actors
yeah,
serve. But what I was talking about with your frequency of your voice, and when you do your music and stuff, that frequency is not necessarily understandable it's sensed.
That's
And
right.
so with more people being empathic, they're plugging into Soulogy, they're plugging into you because they get it. They get it at a visceral level without having to use this. Because this is, oh well.
Yeah, this is, yeah. There's so many ways to attack that, but it's almost like okay. So one of the big things I see happening is the narratives are falling. It doesn't matter if there was a galactic war. It doesn't matter about the Anunnaki. It doesn't matter about any narrative that you want to follow, any specific download that you've received in memory that you were a part of.
Right.
It could be indigenous in me. It could be the Sophia Christ ley line, Rose Ray, whatever, all that stuff. It could be so many different things. Elysium, Lemuria, Atlantis, even the narratives that are out there today, the stuff that's not being disclosed, it's all going to come out because this is the unveiling. Okay. All of that stuff was information to put us in this place right now.
Right.
This is being present. Being present is saying, no, I'm not forgetting about that. I'm just not letting it run the show because I'm not limited even by my star lineage or my soul lineage or my life lineage. We're supposed to be present. Not supposed to be, but I mean, our potential is to be present and take that with each other now. And this is where the magic happens. This is
Right.
where the new beginnings, new everything, new universes, new lives, new connections, everything, you know?
Right. Well, that's when you surrender and trust that everything's for your highest good and you patiently wait for it rather than forcing it. That's a big
Yeah.
thing.
It's funny because I have the luxury. I'm in this town of 20,000 people.
Wow, little.
Yeah, but it's a working class town. There's very few Westerners. And I'm in the main part of the town where they have the main plaza and the main avenida. So it's really on my side of it, there might be not even 5,000. Could be, but they're all over the other side of the highway. So it's a very quaint little place. So it is authentic and it is Mexico. You don't have, I mean, I have a Starlink, which is giving me the ability to do this. Prior to that, they only have like 2G and 3G,
Right.
and the electricity will go out. So it's been a real good exercise for me. Like I had this happen last night. I was cooking a little bit and about to wind down and have a beer and sit out on the patio and just chill out and go to bed about 9, right? And all of a sudden the power goes out. Okay, goes totally black in the neighborhood, and you hear people going woohoo, and I've been through it a few times, but where it takes me is, hey, like last night's a good example. So the old and the new, the lights go out. How do I know they're ever going to come back on? How do
Right.
I know that, you know what I mean? So I go into, oh, you know what? You don't have any water. What happens if everything shuts down? You don't have any cash. You didn't go to the ATM, and this is, so I start thinking like that. And I thought, you know what? Everything's going to be fine. I'm going to get what I need no matter what, whether it turns into a 2-week blackout and I step out into the world and in this community, we all start to help each other and I get the water and the bread that I need, or whether the lights come back on and go back off about 10 times like they did last night. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't need, it's not serving us to be out in the future, just like it's not serving us to be stuck on narratives representing the future or bringing justice from the past or whatever the case is. It's
Exactly.
presence. It's presence. It's like a lucid dream dimensional state. We're changing dimensions.
That's right. That's right. Well, we haven't necessarily grounded it and can stay in one dimension anyway. Right now, we're in and out. That's a meditative state, or when you're aware and you can feel your bigger you out there watching us talk. You know, that and that's always fun, and that is so loving. That's what reminds you that you can be that here.
Yeah.
That
And
bigger.
I really feel like this, and another thing too, we've had a hard time on this show describing, people will come on and be like, I'm talking about this year. Like it was like January, February, March, April, kind of slow. I probably did 20. but everyone's like going, man, something's going on, but I can't really describe it. Now in
Yeah.
June and July, we're starting to be able to describe it. And what I'm seeing is in regardless of the level of connection of multidimensionality, the human is more and more and more and more on point every day. In other words, it's obvious that it's in the body, it's in the traumas, it's all right here centralized in our nervous system. And we're being challenged in ways, and I can say this, I know for everybody, we've been shown things where, we projected or, where, oh, I thought this all these years I was telling this story, but it really was this. It was all me. It's all me. So I think, as an example, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I believe we're going to be challenged to the utmost, not challenged, that sounds a little bit harsh, but challenged to the utmost of our heart and our soul, the fusion of our heart, mind, and soul, you know, our spirit, what I call the I am soul, in ways that we haven't thought of, just like what's been happening to us. And as an example, might be like this. Somebody's in office and they find all these crimes, and I won't mention names because I'm not political, because I think they're both crooks. All of them are crooks if you want, but they're the bad players playing the part that they need to play. But my point is, what happens if all of a sudden they arrest 100 people and say, these are the bad guys, we're going to put them in Guantanamo Bay, we're going to execute them, and what happens? Now you're going to have a bunch of people over here going, rah, 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 yes, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. That's not the fucking road we need to be on. And
No,
then you're going to have over here the opposite, supporting them, hating the new oppressors, new saviors. Okay. And this is where I think our work begins now, because
yep,
it's not about how many views I can get or how many clients you can get, or it's about you, like you said, getting up in the morning. What can I do today? And the main priority is to keep your field in its highest harmonic balance and
yep,
illumination that you can, which is
yep.
really achieved through creativity, moment by moment by moment by moment, rather than judgment and the old vehicles of the old paradigm.
Right. Well, the old paradigm is falling away so fast that the new vocabulary or the new desires that are coming up are so different. I mean,
Yeah.
um, happiness is the new rich. It really is. So, I mean, what do you want to chase? Happiness or money?
Yeah.
Happiness,
Well, and
right?
I think, like, even in the example I'm giving, what would be required of those who identify or want to be in the neutrality in the 0 point in the soul highway? What happens in that situation? I believe an example would be we are to find our greatest compassion and empathy for those bad actors. That's a hard thing to do.
Hmm.
I've done this on a personal level. It involved two of my relatives. It involved sexual abuse in the worst way. And I had a situation a week ago where I had a conversation and I had to get off the phone. When I got off the phone, I had to sit with myself to take in how much I had leveled up, because it was kind of unconscious. I got a phone call. I wasn't prepared for it.
Uh-huh.
I only saw that person with love. I saw that person as myself, even though that person has violated, the closest thing to me, right? That could be to a parent. Let's just say that. And I believe that's where we're going to be asked to go.
Yep,
There are no exceptions. Well, those are clones and those are hybrids. And hey, God doesn't make shit. Okay. So
that's it.
everything is the same thing. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but because we have done such a great job of deceiving ourselves and making ourselves forget.
Right, right. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Mm.
I know I'm supposed to be interviewed, but
No, it's a
what,
conversation. This show's never been about interview.
okay.
This
What do
show's
you
just a conversation.
what do
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
think about AI?
I see it the same way.
I
AI,
I love
listen,
it.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you look at everything as energy or consciousness, if you think about what we are, okay, I mean, at the core, it's the God. There's a uniformity, call it God, call it sort, whatever. The vehicle itself. is an AI.
Right.
Okay. Now we're going to say it's an organic AI
Yep.
because we're the ones that are supposed to be natural and real.
Right.
But the fact is that, it's all still part of the external reflection. And yes, I do believe that in this ascension cycle, we are doing it kind of, that's one of our cooperating energetic forces is AI. It's what we think it is, what it is. It's a reflection of us. It's not good. It's not bad. It's all based on me. Okay. I think, for instance, as one example, if you look at the sins of the affluent, the hugely billionaire class and all that, and the
Hmm.
things that are coming out, I say to myself, I'll see a picture of Jeff Bezos coming off a $200 billion yacht with some
Yeah.
girl, and they're all in perfect shape with big muscles, you know, and I think to my human will go, oh man, F that guy. But then I think to myself, wait a minute, my soul will come in and say, wait a minute, what would happen to you? What would happen to you if you were, if you through the cycles of time, whatever, became this billionaire? Are you going to say that you wouldn't do this or you wouldn't do that? I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm certainly not going to say hell no. I'm not going to give the universe an absolute because I learned a long time ago it'll come right back and kick you in the butt and knock you on the sidewalk.
Well, I look at the people that are almost stereotypes or stereotypes, the caricatures,
Mm,
like Arnie Schwarzenegger kind of thing. It's like, wow, look at what creation did. I mean, really, truly, when you think about the expression of consciousness in everything that's on this planet, and then you go to the other planets, but everything on this planet, the variety and the opportunity to create your reality in any way you want, it's remarkable. I
yeah.
mean, really, truly. So I'm not jealous of those people. I'm not envious. Um, they got their issues too. They got too many possessions. Think about with the
Hey,
sold
they
Indian.
have, yeah. I mean, listen, I wrote a post the other day and it's because I came in so strong. How do I say this? I don't even think I said it right, but it was basically the truth is coming for everyone in a very personal and private way. You're not going to escape, nobody.
Right,
But when
right.
we get to the other side, we will have, essentially, we will find out that we're all the same.
Yeah,
Like, just like you're saying, putting the shoes on,
yeah.
socks on.
Same way. Well, I mean, I follow a lot of the Saint Germain stuff, and I like to work a lot with the Ascend Masters and angelics, and you know they can do magical things, and so can we. It's
Mm,
just our construct of reality may not let us. So as you watch this frequency from the sun, these codes that are just coming in our skin, I mean, each day it's like, whoa, what was that? And I'm grateful for it. I think that's, we don't have to do anything. We just be and take it, be trust it, surrender and accept it, and then integrate it. The integration is the part that I think you and I are talking about the most, is that are we comfortable enough in letting go of the old rules and guidelines that we use to live our life to accept something much more magnificent that we may not understand yet, but to surrender to that new possibility. And there's just like, as soon as the internet let you see everybody's everything, and then I don't love Instagram, but people do. And Instagram shows all these even fake people are considered influencers. They aren't even real people. So
I'm,
you have to know, it's like, how much of
well,
this
how can you
people
know?
anyway?
See, I think that's the other part of the AI question. So it kind of goes out the window for me because what I see happening is first of all, I think part of the awareness we're coming into is realizing that the AI and the technology that we've been given right now, the bad actors, the whoever, the powerless powers that be or that used to be, had it 50 years ago.
That's right.
And they've got stuff that's 500 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
But that's not our souls. That's our perception of what we thought we were, the human, or
Right.
limited and all that.
That,
So I think what's happening now is you get to the point now where you get your phone out and you start going down reels and you don't know what's real and what's not.
right.
And it goes
You
faster and
gotta,
faster and faster. And so you just finally go, I'm just going to put this down. And because what's happening, it's the same pattern. The universal energy is forcing us to get rid of everything and just be with ourselves for 5 minutes, for 5 days, for 5
that's
weeks, 5 months, whatever it is, to go back into that abyss. Because I firmly believe where we're headed, or what's happening here, is to be in like I call it the mother's holy darkness, the mother's womb, like is to go back into this space, this void, through all our fears, boom, 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 boom. We end up there with nothing, and this is where we create new.
perfect.
This is where you have something like what we are learning as humans through these incarnations is the new universal code that would only have come to be by our boots on the ground existence,
Right.
you
Right.
know? So it's
Well,
valuable.
I think that there's a guy named Kelvin Chen that you might want to talk to. He's an amazing guy. Anyway, he was part of a TM when the Beatles brought Maharishi over to California. He was 17, 18 years old, and he worked directly with Maharishi and opened up the Southeast Asia corridor for him. Is like under 20 years old. Guy's amazing. Anyway,
Wow.
he and a bunch of his buddies, he remembers 6,000 years of his past lives.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yeah.
he's written, but I've got his book over here. I mean, it when you start listening to people talk about it, and that the soul or the personality expression finds a new DNA vessel to
Right.
inhabit, but a lot of the personality stays the same
Yeah.
life after life, and until it's healed. I mean, right now, what are the chance that we have right now for so many people to be ascended masters embodied
Yeah.
is remarkable. And I don't even think you're going to think about it. You're just being that. It's not like you're a guru and you want to flock.
Yeah.
It's
That
just
won't
that,
work. That won't work
yeah, I
anymore.
don't think so either.
But I think you just hit on something really big. Um, oh, okay. So yes, like what you were talking about with this man. Okay. Uh,
Kelvin.
yeah, I can think of like in my own situation. I don't have 6,000 years, but I would say a dozen or so, 14 past lives uh, as a human being. Okay. And then a few different things that I know about or been shown that are off planet, and I'll leave it at that. But also my particular color, my particular tone or ray, and there is a common thread in there. Like I know, for instance, I know that I like to create, you could say like vortexes and bring people in and like create this
Yep.
wizard energetic force
Yep.
of co-creation.
Hmm.
And I can see that even like in this life in the corporate world or even before that, and then with Soulogy. So yeah, I really believe that's a big part of, which is kind of strange because we're letting go of all these identities, and yet there's still this little unique piece that remains. The only, like the universe, I am not complete without the universe, but the universe is not complete without me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And your genius is that nugget, whatever your genius is that completes the puzzle, is what that's what I'm calling joy. When you find your joy,
Joy.
or you
Yeah.
you get a hint of it, or and we might use other language like there's energy in it for me, or
Joy's a good word. Joy's come up on the last 3 or 4 shows. I can't remember who it was,
yeah,
but it was a couple different shows, and they were bringing up joy, and we started
yeah,
to talk about what that definition of joy actually is compared to the one that we had coming in or before we took this leap, say in 2025. But
you,
that joy contains a passion. It contains it contains a sacred sexuality, life force. Like we're talking about, you know, something that's
love.
beyond ecstasy. You know what I mean?
It's self-love too, though. I mean,
Hmm.
until you get to self-love, none of this will land. You'll get a brief taste of it and then it's gone. And then you long for it. Just like any people that have awakenings and walk around, they can't get back to that spot without drugs or whatever. So I think it's all imperfection. However, whoever put this game together, man,
We did.
I know, but I don't
We,
remember.
uh,
I just know this is just brilliant.
it
Just
is.
brilliant.
It
Just brilliant.
is. It's how many people from Dolores Cannon, Edgar Casey, Franco
Mhm.
de Nicola, many people that have come on this show, one way or the other, it would be at a channel or a transmission, talk about we've never done this before. This is the hardest school. Um, the whole universe is on the edge of their seat watching us to see how far we'll go. They didn't think we'd come this far this fast. And remember, everything that's in our external consciousness, to include interdimensional beings and ETs, and they're all part of the landscape.
That's right.
There might have a little less physicality, but on the other side of them is our angelic aspects, is our aspects, our oversoul aspects, and so on. So we're literally this quantum entanglement thing. A lot of times when I hear it, I'm thinking that doesn't quite fit for me. Like I get that I'm here and someone's way over on the other end of the multiverse, but it's actually everything in between too.
Right.
That, you
Right.
know what I mean?
But
So
it's hard
it's
that's hard to perceive or experience. What I'm hoping people get from today is to use your heart as your compass
mm,
for for what really is true for
yeah,
you, because the media that's out there, the opportunities for you to get totally overwhelmed is huge. So if you get a chance to just breathe it in and go, that doesn't feel right to me, or that does, and follow that, your heart. They say the longest distance is between your head to your heart. And I I watched a guru speak on YouTube, which I wish I would have kept the video, because I talk about this all the time. This guy, it was at least 20 years ago. I mean, it was when YouTube just started. And
mm,
this guy was in full garb. He had the hat, the turban and the whole thing. And he was sitting on a Zafu talking to everybody. And he had all these students below him. And he was saying that this period that we're going into, that the people that relied only on their brain functioning, so the scientists, mathematicians, the people that have linear thought processes, that they were going to really have a very hard time, because the field that holds your thoughts, they aren't in your brain, they're in the field around you, and gravity is going to change. And
yeah,
he said that because gravity is changing, you won't be able to retrieve. Well, I can tell you, I don't know if it's my age, but I can sometimes remember somebody's first name, and I have to go back to the Rolodex to find their last name. And it comes eventually, but it's not there like it used to be. And I don't think it's just my age. I think it's the access to that past
yeah,
isn't in my field.
yeah. No, I get
No,
that.
it's
Yeah.
gravity. He called it gravity.
I think that's a good term for it because, obviously there's a metaphor to everything. because we're never going to be able to comprehend. We could take a snapshot right now, have a conversation, say, this is what I'm seeing, this is what you're seeing, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, part of this evolution is coming online, that's online, is we don't need to know anymore
Right.
because there's what you're talking about. That's kind of like how it operates. So for instance, I noticed when I came back on to really start to go work again in middle of May, uh, I noticed something that I never realized before. I would be going through a news feed or even whatever, a news feed, and I won't see a name. I'll see the profile pic and I'll
Yep.
go, oh, that's so and so. And I'm not always right, but I go, oh, wait, I've seen that blend of colors or whatever. So yeah, there's something like that's coming online. A lot of people have talked about this above telepathy thing that's going on. I really feel like it's way above what we think telepathy is. But it operates from the heart,
Right.
from the brain of the heart. As they talk about uh, the characteristics of the heart, like the Heart Math Institute and that type of stuff.
Right.
It's a real thing. And I think the other thing that you bring up, which I feel is one of the points of differentiation that have make it hard for us to understand, especially if we want to understand everything, and that is to lead with the heart. So in the old paradigm, how many things did we do that we've learned from or that we would quote unquote take back? We were leading from the heart, but we were leading from the heart of expectation of the paradigm that we're in. Like, oh, you're supposed to do this. You're a father, or you're supposed to do this.
Right.
No, this is what you're talking about. It's kind of like talking about human love versus divine love. So in other words, at a human level, how does it feel? So we're not being run by our feelings, which were sub,
Routines
sub
and
patterns.
program.
You're saying, like you're saying, breathe it in. How does it feel? Okay. So what does that mean? All kinds of things. I don't have to answer right now. I don't know how I feel. I don't feel so good about it, but let me sit with it. Maybe I'm missing something, or hell no, or yes. You know what I mean? In the
Well,
moment.
without having to, so up until maybe 15 years ago or so, people were using labels, and they were using labels from culture, their program, their society. And now all those labels don't fit anymore.
Right.
And that's part of this work that I'm talking about, which isn't really work. It's self-inquiry. It's the path to self-love, where you're trusting that there's a bigger game in play than you can control by putting everything in little boxes to keep you safe.
You
So you
can't control,
do it.
right?
And yeah, well,
Surrendering is control. If you want to control, that's constrict. That's going to create chaos. It's going to because it's creating imbalances. So it's a weird thing, and again, hard for the mind to get around. I'm not saying I know it. I'm just trying to get a feel for how you can say it.
okay.
You surrender. Well, it's a lot like you said when you get up in the morning. Me too. I get up this morning, I put my feet on the ground. I say gratitude for
Yep.
many different things and and really let that kind of sink in. Okay. Because I don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm doing what you're doing. You're out in the garden. I'm in here at the garden. I'm sweating. I'm dripping. I take an outside shower, run in here 3 minutes to go, put on my thing. And it feels right.
Right. Right.
It feels right. There's no angst. There's no worry. There's no strife. Am I walking on water? Hell no. But I can see that something's happening. You know how they talk about it's not the destination, it's the journey?
Mhm.
Well, I feel like the moment by moment, it's like a lucid dream. You go from one scene to the next scene. It's a different way. It's almost like And another thing we've been talking about on the show these last few weeks has been the symbology and the reflection coming from the external in the form of the wind, of flowers, of plant, of animals, of occurrences, like it's speaking, like you're
Right.
thinking something and then it happens kind of
Right.
thing.
Well, the multidimensional aspects of this reality are totally available right now. So
Yeah.
you can go on a walk and the trees will talk, the
Mm,
dragons, the fairies, the elementals. It's not just ETs. I mean, there's ETs too,
mm.
and Swatch and all that, but wizards, there's so much available to us. But again, I'm calling that surrender to that, knowing that that's safe, because that's all that my words may be incomplete to try to explain it.
No, no, I think that's real good. I mean, I think another thing that you're exemplifying and we're talking about is it's we're developing a constant communion. It's becoming, like you said, you can't just stay there all the time, but it's becoming more and more the predominant force. And yes, these things come in and go out. And if something comes in, it's probably old, 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 and you're going to feel embarrassed or stupid about it on a personal level and go, okay, well, now it's gone.
Right.
Now, okay, I accept that about myself. I'm no longer hiding that. It's not the things we want to tell people, it's the things we never want to talk to people about.
Well,
We don't
it
want to divulge about ourselves. And I have found myself recently in situations where I've been offered to open up and I was a bit hesitant, but I did. And it created some triggering, okay? And I'm okay with it because I get it. I get that just because it hurt or something like that, put it in these terms, I can still go forth with a wider open heart. I'm
right.
still going to go that direction. I'm not going to shut down because that's the way this thing works. And if there is a win or lose, which I don't think there is, if let's just say if there is a huge difference in what the other side could be, let's say, maximizing our potential or going the way of Lemuria, going the way of Atlantis and all that stuff. Okay. That the difference be the open heart.
Mhm.
You know, something has convinced us that we're not safe. And I think you hit on that. And that's another thing. You look at the feminine commentary over the last 12, 14 years, and the masculine is starting to come out. They're saying the same damn thing. He
Right.
didn't feel safe. He felt his voice was suppressed. And a woman might look at it and go, well, why are y'all always the ones doing the talking? That's not him. He's got a divine aspect just like you do, and
Yeah.
it's been squashed just like yours. It's
Yeah.
on the inverse side of this, 0 point. It's
That's
not
right.
like, oh, we're coming like this. It's more like we're coming like this, or more like
So,
that.
so I want to add one more thing that I hope adds to what you were just saying.
Mm,
Is that I think that when you get triggered and you don't hide from it and stuff it down again, you actually work through it. It creates a spaciousness for
mm,
more of your soul light to fill these cells. And
exactly.
that's why it's a huge benefit. You don't, it seems scary and it seems like there's going to be some, well, you're frightened for the sadness or the whatever the feeling is, but that construct of letting of transmuting it gives you space.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I don't think people understand that part until they start to get through the processing, that spaciousness is divine.
Yeah. It's kind of like, and I think the way you learn it, just like apparently the way we learn everything, especially now that things have changed. You can't teach me anything. I can't teach you anything. You can show me things. I can show you things. But it's going to take me having to do what you just said, ultimately. That's what it's going to do. And then what happens is, so it's kind of like like a little kid going into the doctor to get a big shot. And he sees the needle and he's like freaking out. And his mother's like, calm down, look over here, breathe, 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 boom, it's done. Oh, are you kidding me? It's like, oh, that wasn't so bad. So that's what I think is happening. You're making a really good point. And I think that's also, to be honest with you, why so many people have been, by force or by flow, put into isolation, because these are not things we can discuss with other people. We've got to work them out in ourselves.
Right, right.
Okay. And
Yeah,
once we're able to do that, it's going to take our perception of who we were those first 12 years, empath, healer, psychic. It's going to wipe those out.
that's
And
right.
we're going to see each other as being able, given the respect and the honor and the grace. We don't have to judge them. We know that they're probably in the same place we are, and we're all going to find ourselves at the same place, and we all came from the same place. So, it's such a wild, multifaceted, multidimensional, multi-stream human and soul attributes, having all the multidimensionality, and the human with all its multidimensionality. I don't know about you, but I have multiple personalities. I think
Yeah,
we all do.
right,
It's like
right,
there's this kind of relation. Look at mental health science. 5,000 years old, they still can't get their arms around it. It's just a
right.
bunch of, I mean, take the pills out, and then what do you got left? I mean, you know what I mean? So it's colossal. It's mind blowing.
Well,
And to me, it really, it's nice to be able to sit down and have a conversation uh, because I don't see this stuff out there. And I've studied these platforms for years.
right,
And I feel like there is no template. You just show up
right,
and see
right.
what happens. Yeah.
Well, that's part of the reason why I really like interviewing the near-death experiencers,
Mm.
because I've had spiritually transformative experiences. I don't think I've had a near-death experience, but and I definitely work with the Arcturians and other beings. I mean, that's just me, but I don't have a lot of times the articulation. I don't have the vocabulary that some of these people that have had near-death experiences, they just are amazing. Their articulation of being out of body and the blessing of it is remarkable. So I that's just my experience. I just didn't have words until I heard someone else's words, and then I could go, oh, that's it. Because I wake up every morning. I had a big event 22 years ago, and I wake up every morning still remembering it.
Yeah.
22
Yeah.
years
Which
and
is, yeah.
still integrating it.
Yeah. And then to look at it that way too. I had one, what was it? The last day or two, and it came out of nowhere. And it was that type of event. I can't remember what it was though, but so, and I've had two out of bodies, or I think they're the same to me, out of body, near death.
Yeah,
And then I
exactly.
had one consciously, for sure, consciously awake. And what you were talking about, the same. I mean, I could feel myself get shot out. I could feel the density of my body and the coldness of it. I was leaving it. But there's this, when you land, there's this atmosphere, I would call it, of like fifth, maybe sixth dimension, everything. And I know it sounds hippie-ish, but it's like peace and love. And it's like a plasma. And it's like it lights up all of your body. It's this in the lightness too.
Mhm.
I feel like that, much like a dream can be when you start to fly in a dream. I feel like this is what is coming online.
Yeah.
Part of the
Oh,
what's happening symptomatically, and I also feel like this is what you or whoever was referring to about gravity. See, gravity to me is like time and even space. I think time is definitely gone a different direction. I mean, everyone, even I hate to say the regular people are saying this, but space is too.
yeah.
Space is too, and I believe gravity is is not a how do you say it? Not necessarily an organic construct. It was one of the constructs of our creation when we created this playground, university, hell, heaven, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like that's a really good point. I've never heard anyone other than Ty Hudnall talk about that, and he talked about it a little bit differently. But yeah, that gravity doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, he was just using that as access to data,
Mm.
and you know, the field that we're in is vibrating so much higher, and that old data is lower frequency. So it makes sense. It might be in a steamer trunk behind me. I call it my Rolodex. It's like, wait a minute, my Rolodex will have it in a little while, but but anyway, no, I'm excited about all this time. There are times where I'm not fully functioning as
Yeah,
I'm adjusting. It's like the dial has to keep going. And then if I'm outside, if I'm on the land, however it is, either gardening or taking a walk or in the forest, you know, those things you can, it somehow gets air in your lungs,
yeah,
gets your circulation working, gets you tuned to earth, and then
yeah.
you're fine.
And then absorbing the ions that you need. I mean, there's like if you're ever pissed off, go walk in the forest. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't even hold it. You know what I mean? Like go to the beach and yeah, and I feel like that's part of uh yes, we all created this, but it's bigger than us. So to me, you know how in the energetic field, a lot of people that you're familiar with that do that kind of work, they'll say, we do it in the energetic field first and then it appears.
Right.
Well, yes. And I think that 12-year period, we came here to do what we came here to do. We accomplished it. And now the ripples of it are becoming closer and closer. And I think I'm talking about instant manifestation here. I'm talking about as we make this transition, which is so important, that let's just say our facilitators are spoon feeding us because if it goes too quick and we start to come into this and our thoughts are creating whatever they are
Right.
instantly
Right.
versus years later or through patterns or loops in our life, we don't want to scare the hell out of ourselves. You know, one of the exercises I do for myself, usually every night, and it's just a quick thing. I will say, you know, I am soul. I am the Christ. I am soul, you know, and then I'll picture the highest, most profound, illuminated being, if not God, Goddess itself. And, you know, anyone that's had that kind of experience,
Yep.
it's just as intimidating. You know, you're like, oh my God, I'm so unworthy, you know. And I will just look at it and say, I am soul, you know.
That's right.
Can you take me out? Can, you know, yes, but I am soul, I'm you. And then I pull up the ugliest demon that I can find. And it's the same thing. Yeah, you can flay me, you can pull my guts out, you can torture me, but I am soul to the bone, you know? So I don't even know why I got off on that. I forgot what we
Well,
were talking about.
well, you talk about manifestation. I think my
Oh
partner
yeah.
Garb says, do the work, move the energy, and good things happen. And that's
Yeah.
really, when you think about it, is that there's still in this reality, you still need to take the action, like you starting Soulogy speaks back up, you know, take the action, move the energy, and just wait and see how it lands.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. Because if you get off of what you're really doing things for, you know, doing things for other,
You
for
can't.
response, or for, well,
Money,
this,
money, like you know,
yeah,
you
none of it.
it,
But like I do a lot of things, as I said, for ions, and
mm,
you know, if I was doing it for business or for um, recognition or all of that stuff, um, it wouldn't work. there wouldn't be
You
the
can't,
joy or the
especially
energy in
especially
it.
now, especially now. I
Oh,
remember doing a show. I think it was the last time I did a show with her. God, it's been that long. Uh, I want to say May of 2023 with Sandra
mhm.
Walter.
Uh-huh.
And I always enjoy doing the shows with her. We seem to click on like we're doing, like what's going on right now. But I
Mhm.
remember at the time I
She's
was faced with, you know, in that energy creating the network, and going off of social media, and that was complexing as it was for me as an individual. But I remember talking to her, and she was kind of talking about the same thing. And she has a pretty good, she's been very consistent, has a pretty good model if you look
Mhm.
at what she does and how she does it. Um, and I remember her saying, you can't do anything. You can't do a show. You can't do everything has to be done from that heart space to the best of our abilities in that point in time. And then I do believe you're right. You take the step, which is now becoming thought. Okay.
Mhm.
And you jump in and you do it. And then you climb out of the pool and you go around, get in line to go do it again. So you leave it, as opposed to so many things in the pattern of the old paradigm where we would have an experience, be it somebody oppressed us, violated us, or we did something, or we whatever, and you leave and you're still back there.
Right,
Oh my
right.
God, I didn't comb my hair today. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that.
I
Like,
should have said that, this or that, or yep.
huh?
No, how you replay stuff. I should have said this or
Oh yeah,
that,
yeah, 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 yeah.
all of
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
But
You
but
just let it go. Yeah.
yeah, you do. You do because if it's a divine creation, it has its own experience.
That's
See,
right.
the thing is, we're we're little USB drives.
Yeah. We're not meant to be, we're not meant to, we offer the herd nothing if we're all alike. But the fact is, at the core, there is only one thing. But
Right,
each piece of that has been sent out, you could say, into the multiversal to have an experience that we can then share with everyone else because they can't have the experience that we had.
right.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
somebody had it like you remember those old '80s disco balls with all the mirrors
I
on.
had one. If you look at the old videos from the original Soulogy One
it?
studios, I had one in the
But
thing.
we're just one of those little
Yeah,
squares.
exactly. Yeah.
So, but altogether, look at that beautiful
Mhm.
collage of light that comes through it. But we don't have to be responsible for getting the second one over to agree with
No,
us or
no.
to see life through our perspective.
Yeah.
We're the little tile.
You don't have to be right. Yeah. July 22nd, 2:22 Central Time. Mine's on Mountain Time. What time is it over there?
I'm on
Mountain.
mountain time too.
What are you, 2:22?
222. Yeah,
Yeah, for some reason my computer, I'm in a weird state where half the state's on West Coast and half's been. Yeah, so what a great sign. July 22222. Okay. So, yeah,
yeah,
I will send you a note or vice versa.
yeah.
Let's set something up. We'll have a talk and see what
Yeah,
and compare
yeah,
notes
yeah. See
privately,
how
and
how I can help.
yeah,
I'm always doing something here. There's
I
just
know you are. You're
so
you know,
many cool things. Well, and I really like the ET stuff a lot too. I
yeah. Yeah.
really like.
I think it's a great subject. I actually feel, there's a lot to talk about there, both from a interstellar to an interdimensional to an interdimensional
Hmm.
to a lineage, be it past or future.
Hmm.
There's just so much there, but I really feel like the onus of, not so much the onus, but the gist of our our evolution is presence.
Right.
And I see all of those things. I wouldn't say distraction, distortion, disclosure things. I see it as everyone needs, like you said, everyone needs that little uh, facet 2 doors away on the disco ball is going to find what they need to find when they need to
That's right.
find it.
That's
Uh,
right.
but yeah, I think it's great for discussion because I've always felt like sitting in this chair, you want to represent the audience, and not just yourself, and I've always tried to do that. But yeah, I think that'd be a great thing to have a discussion on. But yeah, let's
Yeah.
get together.
Yeah.
We got 3 shows tomorrow. Tune in. We're getting this thing kicked back up. Who knows? We might
Wonderful.
start doing 60 or 70 a month again. It just
Wow.
depends.
That's
Kathy,
really amazing. Thank you. Thank you
thank
for
you.
considering me as one of the people to get a chance to share love
Absolutely.
here.
This has been a great show. I've
Yeah.
loved this show.
Yeah.
I've loved it.
Yep.
The last one always is the best one. I'll be in touch. I'm going to be sitting down doing
Here.
some, probably send you a note today. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody. Might come back on later today and do something freestyle. We haven't done that in a long time, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay.
Thank
Peace
you.
out.